Because the reality is, most of those Division 3 and 4 counties are having groundhog feckin' years. It's one after another, with the dream of what happened 20 years ago of maybe making a breakthrough, and it doesn't bloody happen. Give me relegation, give me a Tier 2 All-Ireland, and I'll take your hand off.
Mickey Hart here, you're listening to the GAA Hour Football Show.
The GAA Hour with Colin Parkinson is brought to you by Paddy Power, home of the Money Back Special.
I'm not finished yet, it took me a long time to get here.
So it was a weekend of the draws, Johnny Doyle. You were in Newbridge for one of the draws. This is the Newbridge Derby. This is the Celtic and Rangers of Newbridge. Rivalry-wise, I mean, not religion-wise or anything like that. But a lot of people telling me this was a classic altogether. It was a last kick of a ball, a sensational point. The sun was in his eyes, Barry Coffey to draw it up.
Yeah, and well, when you talk about Celtic and Rangers, you know, and without the religion, some would say around Moorfield or Sarsfields, it's more important than religion, this game. You know, Sarsfield's Moorfield going for 3 in a row. Sarsfield's the old rival, trying to stop them.
3 in a row. I was reading 3 in a row in Kildare hasn't been done in 67 years. That's an incredible stat.
A huge stat. You know, when you think of some of the great teams, the Clane teams, some of the Sarsfields teams, you know, with Johnny Crofton and these guys, and that 94 team was recognised. And you're looking through some of the players that played on that, you know, massive players. And they didn't manage it. So it's, I suppose, I remember coming out of Portlaoise after Moorfield won their first Leinster title, and I was talking to a Sarsfields man, and I said, God, this wants to sit well. You know, the first they had that one over Sarsfields, and he said, but they never did the 3 in a row. So you knew what the 3 in a row meant to try stop Moorfield. So it had everything. It
was Sarsfields did it in the 50s, I think, was it? The last time it was done,
did it in the 50s, is right. So they have that bragging right. It's a stat they don't mind throwing around when Moorfield are talking about Leinster titles. But yeah, it was a classic in regards to, you know, it had everything. It had two really, really honest teams going hard at it, you know, threw their bodies on the line, nothing dirty or anything like that, but just went hell for leather. I suppose maybe on the football side of it, it probably wasn't brilliant, even
more
though
exciting than brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose from an entertainment point of view, when, you know, both teams feel that they've, you know, sometimes when a team, there was very little in the bookies going into the game, and sometimes when a team maybe steals or loses a lead by a point and they say, oh, well, that's our chance gone. I think it's as evenly poised going into the next. It depends on bodies and stuff like that, how lads will recover. Moorfield probably will come away with a couple of injury concerns. You know, Ronan Sweeney went off with a bad injury. Mark Dempsey went off.
That was through a collision, I was reading. It take a bit to put Rowley off from a collision, no?
Yeah, it did, and he looked in a lot of pain. And
who rattled him then?
I'm not sure. He sort of got caught between two players, but it looked like the knee didn't, whatever way he there was nothing dirty in it, I don't think. But I saw the stretcher coming out, and I was on commentary in KFL, and I was thinking to myself, there'd be no stretcher taking Ronan Sweeney off here. He would not advertise that pain, and true to form, he sat in the dugout the far side and didn't leave till the game was over. But I was talking to him last night now, and he was in a good bit of pain. He was try to get a scan today, so hopefully it's nothing too serious.
So Barry Coffey had an interesting comment at the end of the game. He got the equalising score. So the way this game went is Moorfield led by 2-3 to 3 points, 6 points up, playing against the win. So it looked like, you know, they're the big team in Kildare, they're going to run out easy winners. Sarsfields came back, played well, then ended up a point down. Barry Coffey said, I thought this was interesting. I couldn't see a thing when I kicked the ball. The sun was shining into my eyes. I heard the cheering, so I was happy enough. Now, there's something about Newbridge where the sun is always blinding on that end, isn't it? Into the town end. I don't know why that is. But, so he didn't really know where he was in relation to the goal.
No, and I actually thought, especially with the reaction of, I think it could have been Alan Smith, or I'm not sure, was going, and it looked like it dropped wide, and because the Sarsfields attacker just kept coming, and it looked like he was trying to grab the ball as such, but it just dropped over the bar. But it was a fantastic score, and you know, in times like that, you know, you're just dependent on instinct as well. And you know, I think sometimes teams they're coached to systems, and sometimes can be overcoached, and sometimes it takes a bit of magic. Yeah. And certainly if there was magic shown yesterday, Barry Coffey had it in spades. He kicked 5 from play. He was fantastic yesterday for a lad that struggled really, you know, with injuries. He got a bad head injury and looked like he might never play again, and he was a class act yesterday.
Another draw was in Donegal, and that was a similar pattern. Glenties had 2 shots late on that would have won it. Dermot Malloy with a horrific effort. He came on. Sure, he's in and around my age, I suppose. He came on for the last 50 minutes, or your age as well, Johnny.
You have a few years on me.
Yeah, maybe I do actually. Yeah, I do. And but he went for look. Maybe at that stage you just go for it. But it was a terrible effort, and John O'Malley did as well. Glenties could have won it. This was a horrifically boring game to watch. It was 8 points all. Kind of this risk-averse game. You know, neither team wanted to give the ball away. Neither of them wanted to kick it into their full forward line. It was just possession, recycling, afraid to shoot. All these kind of things. Glenties are a very limited team. Guidor, we know, are a good team.
Yeah.
But you just don't. I don't know. I think Guidor went in. Kind of got sucked into a game that Glenties maybe wanted them to play, and it was just a very nervy game where neither team wanted to be ambitious. I thought. Now maybe the replay will be different, but it was interesting that Glenties took off their full forward Charles McGuinness and Kieran Gallagher. Like number 40 and number 15 came off after 43 minutes. They never kicked it into them the whole game.
Yeah.
It's the same old thing in GAA. Like and Charles McGuinness was after scoring a lovely point from out around the 45 because he had to drift out to get on ball. And they're just not getting ball, and then they're the ones that get sacrificed.
Yeah.
It's just constantly going on. But Glenties, genuinely, you wonder about the standard of football in Donegal if they're getting to final. They didn't have much.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's a couple of things. On the first point, you'd wonder, as you rightly state, taking off, you know, they're in the full forward line because they're scorers, and a low scoring game, you get them right by, and you talk about the 2 lads maybe that, and I'm not sure whether they're, you know, is it Dermot Malloy, you know, we're talking about Barry Coffey coming, like, if Barry Coffey kicked that wide, you say, well, look, he's the best man, he's a good finisher, he's in a good position, and you have to have a go. And then there's other lads maybe come in the field and you're thinking, oh my God, if you drop the lorry load of footballs, that lad's not going to kick it over.
He went off the outside of the left from a Hail Mary.
And then taking two inside forwards who are in there because they can finish, taking the 2 of them out with very limited supply of ball when 10 points would have won that game. Yeah. You'd wonder what way you're thinking.
Even with Guidor, outside of Eamon McGee, no one looks for Cassidy, and Cassidy's a nightmare in there. Like, I mean, why did they underuse him criminally?
Yeah.
Criminally. Now, maybe it was Anthony Thompson was back on him and was marking him from the front. So when they looked up, maybe it wasn't that easy of a ball. But I saw a clip from the Armagh final. Jack Grugan gave an outside of the left pass across to Gavin McPartland for the goal. Like, I mean, that's on a different level to what I saw in the Donegal final. No one was looking for those type of passes. Yeah,
and we often criticise, whether it be the young lad or the old lad in the stand, just saying, lurry it in. But you know what? At times there's room for that.
Yeah.
Just
Kerry
put it
did.
in.
Now, it didn't work for Kerry in the All-Ireland final, but they actually went with that tactic. Get it in and see what happens.
And then it becomes 50-50 in a very dangerous area. And full back lines, you know, they don't like that, especially when you have someone like, all right, he might win every ball clean, but he's going to put himself around Kevin Cassidy. He's a big man, and all you want then is someone sweeping it up then, and nothing, you've got to score, the ball's in the back of the net. Now, you know, you can't just lump every ball in. But against the run to play, that diagonal ball in there, it causes trouble. And
causes terrible trouble.
You would wonder why, particularly when you have someone you know that is going to go, hammer and tongs for every ball in Kevin Cassidy.
And he'll throw it outside, and then the runners in the half-hour line know it's going in, and they'll time the run off him. And now you have a lovely kind of system. Now, they're more of a running team, but at the same time, I think when you have him in there, what's the point if you're not going to use him a bit more? Now, maybe they were a bit flat yesterday. I think the county final result last year, 17-1-7, is more of a reflection on those two teams. But, yesterday, Glenties just kept sticking in there, and you have to give them credit for that, I suppose. But, very, 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 very limited team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a reflection of Donegal football. I know we had a young lad from Donegal who played in the college Maynooth last year, and we went up to play a league game, and it was very defensive, and the poor lad was getting very little body. It was just so many bodies there, and I said to him afterwards, I said, Kane, you didn't get much supply there. He said, sure, that's bread and butter for Donegal football. He was used to it, every time you got, you were swarmed, and maybe that's a reflection of what happens in Donegal.
Yeah, maybe that happened in Clare as well, because it was Kilmurray, Kilbricken and Milltown, and that was 9-9. So I don't know much about what happened in that game, other than the fact that I'm sure it was a similar thing. It was a draw in Galway too. This was a big result for Tuam. I actually tipped Tuam to win last Thursday. I was kind of in great form, thinking they were going to win it. So what a tip that was! But Yeah, Corofin were down Kieran Fitzgerald and Dahi Burke, who didn't start. Neither of them started, and Micheál Lundy didn't start either. He came on at half time, and they missed a penalty. You know, so when you add those few things, you're looking at Tuam going, Jesus lads, you had your chance. You know, and like, I mean, it's hard to say that they didn't have their chance. Last year's final went to a replay as well. Mount Bellew, my luck, they drew 7-7 in a really defensive game with Corofin, and then they beat them pretty well in the second day. So like you'd imagine that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I suppose a bit different maybe than the Moorfield Starters game. You would, and without seeing the game around, you would be thinking that okay, you had your chance, and Corofin will, you know, have a lot more room or scope to improve, and sometimes you would, like, it's getting that balance right again. You know, do you go out to try stop Corofin playing, because we know when you go and play them on 15 on 15, you know, we've seen them so often in the past. They're fantastic, as good a club football as you're likely to see. So you can't go out and, you know, you have to set up some way to them, but then you have to go and try win the match as well, and that's the balance, and that's where a lot of teams probably struggle. You know, to just go out, well, let's limit these, which is so important. But there is a point of time you just have to have a go yourself.
You have to have a go. Yeah, we were like, I mean, it was in Tuam's home ground. Tuam are actually the market leaders in Galway. They've 25 titles to Corofin's 20. So they would, like, you know, traditionally they wouldn't fear. Their manager said after the game, it just shows Corofin are beatable, but they're a very good team. So maybe they will take something from that as well. But you'd imagine if Dahi Burke came on after 54 minutes, and like I said, Lundy came on at half time. Gary Sice got the last 3 points for Corofin. One was a spectacular one from play, and then there were 2 down in injury time, and he got 2 frees. Tuam were complaining about the last free, said that it was a collision that 2 players went for, and he was saying it wasn't a free, but that's the way these things work out. Maybe the referees kind of drawing it up, but the referee didn't do that in Derry, because Magherafelt beat Glen 12-11. I saw some footage of this going around. Ciarán McFall kicked the equaliser about a second after the final whistle. So if you can picture, Ciarán McFall's in around the 21. A fella has a ball just running in past the 45, and he hand passes it to him. And as the ball's in the air, hand passing it to him, the referee blows the final whistle. Ciarán McFall subsequently catches the ball and sticks it off the outside of his right and over the bar. The referee was attacked after the game apparently, and there was Stewart's attack. Like, I mean, for me, Conan sent me that clip, and Conan said to me that they had other chances to have shot in that attack. You see, this is the way I look at it, Johnny. Years ago, the referee would always let that attack end before he blows it up. But now attacks are taking 3-4 minutes, and there's only 1 minute maybe of extra time. How long do you allow that attack be recycled over back? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now,
and that's the big thing. You know, you could understand, like, when I saw the clip, I was there, oh my God, why would you not let that finish out? But as you rightly point out, you don't know the sequence of events like that, as you said, that attack, because we see it all the time. Keep possession, recycle. You know, you could have it inside the 21, and then it goes
all the way back out
to the middle of the field, and
the referee might have been getting sick of this, you know.
He, regardless of whether he got sick of it or not, he still has to, you know, there's at least 4 minutes, you know, so he has a bit of discrepancy. But if that at least 4 minutes goes to 6 or 7 minutes, like, you know,
he has to blow it up then.
You nearly do. Now, I could understand why, I mean, if you were on that team and all, you would be very animated after the game, because emotions are high and stuff like that. But it's a very hard one to make a judgment on when you don't know the lead up to it. And obviously Conan would be off with that, and to see that, you know what, you had the chance, you had to pull the trigger earlier on. And
maybe that was it.
You know,
so yeah, I would be more on the line of the build up was lasting too long, and it was gone over the extra time. And at what point does the referee blow it up?
What
at
about
that
this
stage?
if we had a clock?
Wouldn't that be great? we might mention that in part 3, because we're going to talk about Congress, Johnny. Well, see, you know the shot clock was passed at Congress years ago. It just hasn't been put in yet.
All right.
This has been okayed by Congress.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense why it hasn't. But the one good thing did come out of Magherafelt beating Glen was Danny Heveren's interview. So he did a very emotional interview with BBC Northern Ireland. And he says, and I was just listening to this going, geez, I'd love to share a dressing room with Danny Heveren, and I'd say the hairs would be standing on the back of your neck listening to this fella talking the Friday night before the final, or you know what it means to you and all these kind of things. He says it's strange to say this, but in 50, 60, 70 years time, when you're burying our friends, you'll always look back on this day. You'll sit around a wake house and you'll say, can you believe we won a championship in 2019? This is what it means to us, boys. And then he was asked what he was thinking in the last few minutes when Glen were a point down, pushing on. He said, I was praying to Mammy that she would see it through, as his kind of lips start shaking, you know, with emotion. And she's just looking at it going, that's just unbelievable stuff. And again, I looked at it thinking, I have 6 county titles and I never acted like that after them. And now Portlaoise might have gone through 8 years of not winning one when we won it in 99. So it was a bit of a drought for a big club.
Yes.
But it was never that. Portlaoise, this is the emotion of 40, 50 year. Maybe with Laois winning a Leinster you might have seen, you know, that kind of thing. I couldn't relate. I never felt like that after winning a title with Portlaoise. I don't know, you probably did with Allenwood.
I did, yeah. There was, because as I said, we won one title. It was the first time, and we'd been beaten in 2 finals in the history. We were a relatively young club. The club wasn't formed till 56. So a lot of the founding members were there to see the win a first championship. And you know, I would have heard stories growing up. You know, when Allenwood went to the county board to register as a team, and a county chairman or vice chairman at the time saying, so it's only another pub team, should have been gone in a couple of years. Now whether that happened or not, it was motivation. And we thought that was mentioned the week coming up to the final, you know, says we're doing well for an old pub team, and that would have been the talk. So I could understand, I could relate with that, and I suppose it all depends on you know, particularly a rural club, maybe, you know, everything's involved around the club.
See, it's very unusual. These are a town team.
Right, there you go. Yeah,
which is unusual for a town team to talk about community and talk the way he was talking.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was raw emotion, in fairness.
Raw emotion,
yeah. And you know, it's everything that's good about the GAA as well, you know.
It is.
On one side you'd be feeling sorry for the club that lost it by a point, but then you see what it means to the different. And I suppose everybody invests different things. Everybody, you know, you do have to realise that in every team you have every sort of character. You know, there's some lads that say, I shall go down and play a bit, and sure, if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. And sure, I'll go back to work tomorrow. And some people actually take the game like that. Other people, you know, if it was getting in the way, if work was getting in the way, to find a new job. And that's the way people are, you know. So, but huge raw emotion there. And you know, you can imagine now some of the talk today when they're having a few pints, that just what they've achieved. And you know, you'd say fair play to them.
That was fantastic stuff. So it was a big shock in Monaghan. Clontiberid pretty much hammered Scottstown. They were leading the whole way in a row. Scottstown going for 5 in a row, and they were in the Ulster final, lost it after extra time. So this was a big shock. Conor McManus scored 4 from play. No surprise there. 6 in total. So that was it. So they were 9-3 up at half time. So that's a bit of a shock. I think Conor McManus had Vinnie Corey in beside him, to say he's an all-rounder would be an understatement with Vinnie Corey. But interestingly, Clontiberid's manager is John McEntee. So John McEntee now is going to manage Clontiberid to play Crossmaglen, who they're drawn against. Or you could write it in the stars, but it was interesting after the game. He was asked about that, and John says, "I'm not an emotional kind of guy," which is, to put it mildly. You could add Tony into that one as well.
I would imagine so. Yeah, absolutely. But and that's the way you have to be, you know, when you're involved in it. And it's tough. I don't know. Like, I would hate to be standing on the sideline plotting Allenwood's downfall. It's
definitely weird, yeah.
It is,
definitely weird.
Yeah, but I suppose, you know, after a while, no different than the county. When you're inside and you're playing and you're involved, you're in that bubble. And then when you step out, it becomes just a team. All right, you want to see them winning, but you're not emotionally involved in the team.
You're not two things. You're not emotionally involved in it, and you're a winner. You want to win, and I think your desire to win would override your emotion or your attachment to your own club. I think you would. I think you'd be like...
And well, that's the way you have to be, you know, because if you let sentiment get in the way, you know, you're in trouble, because even whether it be sentiment towards your own team or certain players on your team or the opposition, you know, you're here to do a job. And, you know,
I think it's easier as well if you go manage a team from another province and play in a provincial club. I couldn't see myself wanting a club in Laois to beat Portlaoise, whereas I wouldn't mind a team from if you were managing them. I think that disconnect of another county team. Whereas I'm sure you wouldn't like to manage a team in Kildare to beat Allenwood.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah,
those rivalries are too strong.
Yeah, there's too much involved, and there's too much history and everything that goes with it. Where, as you say, if you were outside the county and it was just look at one of these things, you wouldn't be doing it every day, and
that's it.
You're
it's
not
just
meeting,
a chance,
so, but it'll make for interesting. It'll make for interesting stuff, and if he has to go back to Crossmaglen, and if that game is in Crossmaglen, he'll be walking out the door to go down to the pitch to try for the downfall of his own club. It won't be easy on him.
Exactly, because Crossmaglen won their 45th. Like, I think Portlaoise might be in around 33 or something.
Yeah.
45 is a huge number. Aaron Kernan's won his 16th.
Wow.
Similar to last year, they were a goal down at half time and they scored an unanswered 1-9 after the break. Like, they really are an incredible club, an incredible team.
Yeah.
Like, you'd imagine Ballymacnab at half time are going, lads, we're doing really well. Keep going the way we're going. And we've heard those speeches 101 times.
Yeah.
Crossmaglen probably got lashed out of it, and they come out and score 1-9 and game's over, and that's it. So,
but some clubs, it has to do with tradition and history, even though if you were to analyse it in the black and white, what a lad did 20 years ago shouldn't have any bearing, but they just know how to win.
Gives you confidence. I feel it.
You grew up in that environment, and the expectations, and it's not, I would imagine you go into the national school in Crossmaglen and they don't talk about playing with Crossmaglen, they talk about winning All Irelands for Crossmaglen, and that's it's a bit like Kerry. You ask a lad in Kildare, he'd love to play with Kildare. You ask a young lad in Kerry, and he's talking about winning All Irelands. He's playing with Kerry's not good enough. It's winning All Irelands. That's how you're judged, and that's in the psyche, and you can see that.
But it's the difference with tradition, and I've often said here that Portlaoise are 2 points down with 5 minutes to go. I never think we won't win the game. Laois are down by 2 points, 5 minutes to go. There was occasions when I thought we'd always win, and there were a lot of occasions where I think, here we go again.
Yes.
The here we go again never entered my head with Portlaoise, because we just, that tradition, you fight against thinking you're going to lose. You just don't think you're going to lose, and it's massive.
And that's it, and that's why there's professional people brought in to try change that cycle. Like, you took it for granted in Portlaoise. It wasn't an option. And look, there was matches, I'm sure, you were in that situation that you won, and there was also matches in that situation you lost. But that's where, and that's, like, if you listen to the sports psychologists across any sports, they will say the peak performance is 80% above the neck, 20% below the neck. And we spend so many time, like, look at all the time you spend in the gym, you're looking at fitness, set plays, and if they reckon it's only 20% of performance.
Who says this now?
Well,
this is the
Caroline
psychologists. Well, they're going to say that, right?
Yeah, but it's across
I think
different
skill.
sports.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
But even if it was only 50-50, we spend so little time on it. We take it for granted compared to. Like I say, you took it for granted in Portlaoise, so there is probably something in it in the mindset. Of
I'm definitely not buying that stat though.
Well, there
Jesus,
you go. I'm not going to argue with it. We'll never know.
That's someone looking for work.
Yeah, well, maybe so.
Ballintubber won in Mayo. I won't spend too long on this. This wasn't on television either. It's their 5th title in total. They won the first one in 2010, so they've won the most in this decade in Mayo. And you always think Castlebar have been the dominant team there, but Ballintubber, when it comes to winning county finals, definitely have been. In hurling, Johnny, don't get too scared here now. We'll run through this quickly now. So St. Rina's beat Burr. St. Rina's scored 9 of the last 10 points, an incredible comeback. Burr looked like they were out the gate. They were 111 to 7 points up after 12 minutes of the second half, and it took a footballer, Joe O'Connor, county footballer, to win it for St. Rina's. So there you go. He got the last point. So that's heartbreaking for Burr, who were looking to win their first one since 2008.
Yeah, it's a long layoff for Burr. You just associate, I know Kilcormac Callaghy were kingpins and for a good few years, and St. Rina's, it'd be interesting to see how long they had to wait for. But
they won it 2 years ago. They beat Burr as well.
Okay, so but Burr seemed, look at Burr were the I said, the kingpins when you'd the Wheelahans and these guys. These guys are hard to replace. But a big win for St. Rina's. Yeah, it's a big. I'd almost say it's a big loss for Burr as well. It's a real killer for them. Immakilly beat Glen Rovers. They've won 3 in a row. They're an area team. Yeah. So their manager Derek Barrett, they've only ever won 5 county titles. He played as a player in 97, 98, and now has been coach for the 3 in a row. So Derek Barrett can sit back and say, there's never been a county title won by McKilly that I haven't had a big part in, which is a fair old record for him. But I was reading, they're a divisional team, so they're made up of junior and intermediate clubs all around Cork, around an area of Cork. Yeah. But there's a lot of them complaining at the moment. They're very, very strong, you know. And then, like I'm reading, like there's lots of divisional teams in Cork, but none of them are able to organise themselves
because there's challenges involved with having an area team. Where do you train? How and can you train as a group while the junior and intermediate teams are in their respective championships? There's a lot of challenges involved as well. So like, I mean, they deserve a lot of credit for having the and Derek Barrett deserves a lot of credit, because it's almost like a college team. Do you know what I mean? How do you get them together
and how much access and then like we've only 5 from this club and we don't even have one representative, so why are we investing this time?
Huge politics involved too. Imagine the politics in your own club, never mind an area team.
huge. But you know, I suppose the other side of it is, you know, and you see it very much in Kerry, where they're able to, and I think it makes for a better club championship. I could say bar 6 teams in Kildare, and that's at a push, maybe 7, you know, are capable of winning the senior championship, and that's been kind. Yeah. And we've a lot more teams in it. Would you be better division teams? And all of a sudden, then you have teams playing at a higher standard.
You're talking about amalgamations, maybe.
Yeah. Well, area teams. Could you have a team? You know, I think it would make for a better championship, and plus, I would think it would push the Moorfield players, the Sarsfields, you know, up, and I think would help Kildare football overall.
Well, they do it in Laois hurling. We'll talk to Ross King in part 2. So he plays with Rathdowney Errill, and they beat Boris Kilcotton in the final, and Boris Kilcotton beat Clock Ballacalla in the semi-final, and it's full of there's only 8 or maybe 12 senior teams now, where there used to be more, because they're all amalgamating and joining up, and now they're a match for Camross and they're a match for the bigger clubs.
And does it make it for a better championship?
It's a much better championship.
And it probably helps. It probably brings lads playing at a standard. You know, if you have a lad really strong, maybe junior hurler, and all of a sudden he's playing senior championship, he's got to improve. And in turn, I would say it adds to Laois. Yeah, but you see now,
these Rathdowney Errill are 2 weaker senior teams that join together. Right. That's different than an area team, which is just made up of junior and intermediate players. Do you know what I mean? Cork and Kerry do it differently. They're not amalgamating clubs. If one of the junior teams in that area team makes it up to senior, they can no longer play in that area. You know what I mean? In that area team. That's my understanding of it anyways, but it can be a little bit I think it's very similar to the Kerry way of doing it. But the great thing about those area teams is it gives junior players a chance of playing senior, you know, and like Seamus Harnedy is the captain of Immochilly, and he wouldn't even be playing senior hurling if it wasn't for this area team. So like, I mean, that's kind of a big thing as well. In Carlow, St Mullins shocked Mount Leinster Rangers 217 to 119, and that's after being a man down for most of the game. Marty Kavanagh is no surprise, he scored 10 points, 5 from play, got man of the match in that. In Dublin then, just to finish off, Con O'Callaghan scored an early goal. Coola beat St Bridget's, but it was close enough for a while. But I saw the clip of this on the GAA.ie Twitter account, and this was a terrible tackle from Alan Nolan. So Con got a ball out in front and a lovely turn on the narrow side. You know, they're my favourite turns. They're the way the defender's not expecting you to go back on yourself, and Con's excellent at doing that. The easiest thing is to kind of get it and continue on around on your stronger side. But he came in, brilliant finish, kept going, and Nolan came out to close it down, but followed through with his feet and his hurl and took Con out badly now, I thought.
Yeah, I saw it myself, and you know, it was a brilliant finish by Con O'Callaghan, in fairness to him. Like, I'm sure Alan Nolan would protest all day. Look, he had to cover the ball, but he certainly, to me, it looked like he led with the feet, and it was probably a bit unclear, but definitely the hurl travelled forward anyway, and he looked in pain.
Forward, the hurl batted down and the feet came out. Like, I mean, he wasn't missing him.
Yeah. Well,
that's the way I look at it. He was leaving something on Con, and Con, I think, got a bad dead leg and had to go off the field.
Yeah, so he looked in a lot of pain, and you would have seen that a good bit looking back at you know, the golden years, or some of this GAA gold, where, you know, you think of Martin Furlong and these guys. If the ball came in, and next thing, Martin wasn't getting near the ball, but he was clearing somebody, you know, and that's what it looked like. He was going to leave something on him, and it forced him out of the game, which is a big loss to Coola.
That's the thing. William Marr, who's Coola's manager now, he said he had struck the ball, he was in mid-air and he was taken out. There's something about the likes of Con O'Callaghan, who we know is a pure gent, and he's absolutely brilliant in both Gaelic football and hurling. I feel a little bit protective about him. When I saw that, it's like, here, there's no need for that. Almost like he's doing it to somebody that you know, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's something we like. At the end of the day, you want to see Con O'Callaghan deliver the performances. You know, he's a fantastic dual star, and there's not too many of them left. And he's, you know, you want to see him on the biggest stage producing what that's what people pay in to see. That's what, you know, there's young lads going just to look at Conor Callan playing hurling yesterday, and all of a sudden
and he's gone off the
gone.
field. Yeah. All right, great stuff, Johnny. We'll talk to Ross King next. So Rathdowney Errill are back on top in Laois hurling, and Ross King joins us on the line now. Congratulations, Ross.
Thanks very much, Willie.
Where are the celebrations today, Rathdowney or Errill?
They're a bit of both, and you're welcome to join us. There's a tab there with your name on it there, trying to pick it up. But starting in Rathdowney again, yeah, we had a good out night last night. And any late soldiers went out to Errill. That's just kind of where the night ends up.
Right,
but
it's easier. It's easier get a lock in Errill. Is that what you're telling me?
that is exactly it. Like, you said it though. I didn't hang anything last night.
So come here, what a difference a year makes then, Ross, because this time last year you were sucking your food through a straw, and this time you're sipping on pints after winning the title.
I'm not sucking pints through a straw. It's not too bad it sounds now. That's one thing, but crazy, especially the year now, especially 2 months. I think it's all done in literally 5-6 months. I went back hurling, and it's very, you couldn't write it, to be honest. There's lads that can hurl for 15 years and don't have that sort of success with club and county, and I got it in 5 months, and just very, very grateful. It's kind of nice to be able to reflect on it now, because the year is nearly done in one respect. We're still in Leinster, but it's nice to be able to look back and say we've done this, that and the other, and we've achieved what we wanted. And it's just a special thing, and especially being involved with a special group of the boys. There's a lot of legends in the club that drove us on for years. We have 6 lads with 6 medals now. With 30, there was a photo went into the WhatsApp group there after the match. 6 of us followers have 36 medals. I know the Portuguese lads have 10 and 12, but the hurling, they were very hard won, and they're a bit of stalwarts in the club. So very special to be involved with them, and they're still driving us. So great day, unbelievable.
It was a scrappy final, was it, Ross? It never really got going. A little bit, maybe even like your semi-final.
Probably a poor from a spectator point of view. I think maybe 15 or 18 minutes gone in the clock. I looked up and I looked at the scoreboard. I think it was 3 points to 1 to them, I think it was. And it was very poor. I got blocked down a few times, and the same with our backs were blocking a lot of their shots. It was just more than the end of October now. The fields are heavy. It's winter hurling. It's not going to be free flowing. It's not going to be nice hurling to watch. It's kind of more of a battle, and that was really what it was. It was heading on. We were getting blocked at our end, and she got burst forward and getting blocked up the other side. So it wasn't a free flowing game, but as you know, it's just there. Once you win, you don't really care. In 10 years' time, our name will be just inscribed in the cup, and no one will remember exactly what happened in the game, only that we won. No,
exactly. Sure, that's the way it works. Was there nerves before it? Because he obviously hadn't won it since 14. It doesn't seem that long, but you had lost 2 finals since then, and you know, you on paper you're one of the arguably the strongest team in Laois. You know, and was it playing on your minds a little bit that you had to win this one?
Yeah, I'd say nerves wouldn't be the right word to use. Maybe there's a sense of underachievement, to be honest, and I would have felt it myself personally, and I know the couple of lads, Paddy Person, Jack Kelly, Mark Kavanagh, like working in the hurling maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years with seniors, and you know, we're always hearing how talented a group of players we are on paper, but we're not producing it in the big days. We've only won, that's my 3rd medal. I've lost 2, I've won 3. Which is, look, it's fantastic, but we really should be capitalising on the squad of players that we have. So we weren't too nervous, but underachievement, and it's nearly scary to think that you're not going to exploit the bit of a group of players that we have. We want to be exploiting it, but that's the biggest thing. It's nearly a sense of underachievement for the last 12 months or 24 months in the last few years. Like we're just not exploiting what we have, and that was the biggest feeling going into it, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody saw your goal in the semi-final to win it, so that must have felt very good, to put it mildly, after what happened obviously with Camross the year before.
Yeah.
What were you like after the game like that? You wouldn't have rubbed it in, that wouldn't be in your nature, but I'm sure you were walking around with your head held high after it.
Yeah, it's probably walked around 10 feet tall, and I hit the head off the door frame coming into the house at home, but No, it was special. I probably have never scored really better quality goal and a more important goal in my life. It was probably, I wouldn't be a religious fella at all, but I nearly started praying to the Lord during the week there just to get another one this week. But yeah, it was. Look, it was really, really special. If there is a Lord up there, I think I seen something happen 2 weeks ago that I didn't, it was just a little bit special to do. But yeah, it was unreal. It was a great 2 weeks between just kind of getting a little bit of retribution on cameras last year. Not in a malice way. It's just for ourselves. It was important to kind of get over that. We don't want to be thinking about it, but we kind of, for ourselves, it's a great satisfaction to get over them. They're a serious outfit as well. Like, they're a serious hurling team, so it was important to get them along our journey. If we're winning a cup, it was important to kind of get our kind of revenge, I suppose you could say, just to get over cameras and then bring on the final, whoever it was, and Cotton Bird. They're a serious side as well. They have a lot of inter-county players as well. I think they have 5 or 6, and a lot of their players would have played over the years with the county, so they're a serious side as well. So we kind of won it. We won it a hard way there with 2 teams we bet in the semi and the final.
Yeah, and it's a great championship now since all the teams have started amalgamating, isn't it, Ross? Like, what's your thoughts on them? Obviously, you're amalgamated with Rathdowney and Errill now. Is it the last 16 years that you've won 6 in 15 years maybe since you joined up? How has the amalgamate? You probably know nothing, obviously, other than amalgamation since you joined senior.
Yeah, I don't. When I was under 10, I suppose, when I kind of started out hurling, it was Rathdowney Errill, so I know no different. I had a brother 4 years older than me. He would have hurled at Rathdowney on their own, and they were just a little bit poor. They would have been able to get quarter-finals, semi-finals, and get bet. And that was the run of it. And that would have been what our Rathdowney senior team was for years. It was kind of quarter-finals, semi-finals if they're lucky, but never really push on any further. And it was always said we needed a couple of extra hurlers, and Errill was obviously, we're so lucky to have Errill right beside us, and we're on the one. And we joined up in 2005, and we've been unbelievably successful since. And just so happy. We're just actually blessed. Even when I'm talking, saying it out loud, I realise how blessed we are to be at one club and one people. And long may it continue, because the success is on the field to be seen.
Yeah. How does it work with training and stuff, with their pitch and your pitch? Well, I shouldn't say they and your pitch anymore, because, like, I mean, it's seen as one club now, but with 2 separate grounds.
Yeah, well, every year for the last maybe 15 years, whatever, when we joined up, it was kind of alternating week to week, Rathdowney and Errill. And so we have a lot of, between under whatever, 6 is the seniors, and junior A, B, C, and intermediates. We have 5 senior clubs teams for a few years as well, and then we have a Camogie club as well. So we kind of needed the 2 pitches because there's so much football on the 2 pitches. But
right.
No, we're actually blessed. We have 2 great surfaces and 2 good pitches. We have a gym in Errill. We're getting Rathdowney's being upgraded a little bit there. They got a bit of extra land, and they're making 1 pitch to 2 at the moment. So next year, hopefully, we'll have 2 full-size pitches with possibly a bit of floodlighting on it as well. So that's where we're heading for, please God.
Right, okay. And are there challenges then to amalgamations? Because obviously there's politics to have to contend with in one club. I know all about them, but never mind bringing another club then into the mix. So you've got the politics of your own club, and then you have the politics with another club, and trying to make it all run smoothly.
Yeah, I suppose when it happened, I was young. We were all young, I suppose, but I would have heard murmurs. There's a lot of, you always say the older fellas would have the politics and to be strong-willed, and there was objection to it, to be honest, on both sides. And some people fell out with lads in either side of the club as a result of it. And look, there was bitterness there with maybe 1 or 2% of the population. Like, you have to look at the bigger picture. There's 98 or 99% of people absolutely blessed. We're just delighted to be one club and one people now. So none of that matters. And once you see a little bit of success as well, it just, any little bit bitterness just goes to the side, and the success always wins.
Yeah, exactly. There's no easier way to win them over than to be winning county titles. So everybody's pulling in the same direction now, even if there was only a small few back then.
Yeah, look, even one or two fellas wouldn't have went to games for years as a result of the amalgamation and wouldn't have followed us or whatever. But I even seen them. We were beeping yesterday evening, and one or two guys were out putting the fist pumping out the window and stuff outside their house at us and stuff. So it's delighted to see. I suppose sport does that as well. I suppose it brings out people, brings the best out in people, and it cuts out the politics a little bit. Just seeing a bit of success and seeing young people kind of delighted and seeing old people delighted. Sport does that to areas and places. And you've seen that over the years. Once you win something, it's very special to go home with, and your local people are proud of you and you're proud of your local people. So it's a special time.
Yeah, you must be sick of bringing cups around to schools now at this stage. Then with the the Joe McDonagh Cup got a good tour as well, and that was obviously the right thing to do. It's not like we win much in hurling, too often. That to bring a cup around to the school, an inter-county cup must have been a nice feeling.
Yeah, I tell you, it's unbelievable. Like, I never thought I'd be able to bring a cup with leash to schools, and it is special. We have to. We're kind of milking it alright, but you kind of have to milk it as well. Nearly every week on the WhatsApp group, there's someone looking for a cup to go somewhere else. And Scott, I actually have it in my house at the moment, and there's the top of the cup. It's not supposed to be an open cup. It's closed at the top, and it's kind of slightly welded all the way around, but every Tom, Dick and Harry gets the cup wants to pull at the top of it. And it's very, very close. Jeez, I'd say a spark would nearly knock it off now at this stage. So I think I have to bring it to jury rounds and get it fixed up there some part of the week. But no, it's unreal. I was in Culhill School last week. We actually brought it to Rathdowney in other schools maybe a couple of weeks ago. And when we were bringing the Joe McDonagh around, we were saying hopefully we'll be back with Bob O'Keefe. So we have all that done this morning as well. So we're kind of, we're really greedy at this stage. We're going in every couple of weeks with cups. Long may it continue, you could say, but delighted. Yeah, it was unbelievable. It's unbelievable to go in with a leash jersey or a leash top body and holding a cup. Special thing to do because, it's so hard to be won, especially with the county grades, and we're fighting for years to do it. So just delighted to show something off for them, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And look, you obviously mentioned what a great year it has been with Laois. Winning at the Dublin game, I'll never forget that. That was incredible. And then obviously you went and gave Tip a great game, who won the All-Ireland. So I suppose building on this year is the big thing for Laois hurling now. And Cheddar mentions here in the show 5, 6 lads that should have been on the squad this year. Any sign of lads committing next year, or have you been on a recruitment drive as players, some of you as well as Eddie?
Yeah, I'd always be asking, to see even allow the birds and cotton boys. I actually have a missed call from one of them there. That was what was going on in the background there, one of the questions you asked me. But I'll be asking one or two of them there, alright, to whether they consider coming in, because Jonathan Doyle, after losing 2 lads anyway, Tad Oyer and Ben Conway are gone travelling for the year, and Ben was probably one of our best hurlers in 2018, and then he done his cruise at the end of 2018, so he missed it all in 2019. And Sir Chad O'Wyer, a little bit of a cult hero in there, I'll be honest. He's a big leader for us. So we need to be bringing in 2 really good lads, like a Joe Campion or someone as well. That's who I'll be in his ear this season now, trying to get him in. But yeah, we really look. I actually know nothing. The way when you're in with the club, the county WhatsApp is going and they're back doing bits of weights and stuff there at the moment, but you're so kind of consumed with the club at the moment, you're not even tuning into the county. But it's always in the back of your head, alright, and you're kind of hoping a couple of lads will commit that haven't been committing in the last few years, just to add that little bit, because as I said, with the 2 lads going, I don't know if there's any other outgoings, but they're serious losses too, because our county, we can't really afford to losing players like that, and it's as simple as that, to be honest.
No, definitely not. You saw the Leinster Championship draw anyways. I don't know there's such good teams in it that you don't know whether it's a good draw with the teams you have at home, or you would have preferred maybe Dublin at home. But Kilkenny away anyway is probably the big one that stands out. Trip to Nolan Park with a big crowd. Or what way would you look at it?
Yeah, I think we've done it first, and then we have Kilkenny away. So yeah, it's amazing. Literally, this is the first thought I nearly put to it, to be honest. I seen it, but as I said, I'm so consumed with the club for the last month to 6 weeks that I haven't really put much thought or focus into it. It's always in the back of your mind. But we played, my only time to play in Nolan Park was we played a practice match amongst ourselves there this year. Eddie brought us on a bit of a training week into Waterford. We played a match in Kilkenny in Nolan Park on the Sunday morning. But it was unreal, and you can feel the tradition in the stadium, in the dressing rooms, just pure hurling, heart of hurling. So, it'd be special to go in there wearing a Leash jersey, taking on one of the best teams ever, I suppose. Bring them on, like, sure, look, we're saying it for years, that's the games we want to be playing in, and that was there for us, so it's up to us to kind of see where we can take it, and hopefully, I believe we will take these scalps that we talk about, I believe we will do it. It's only a matter of time before we keep knocking at the door, it's going to fall down, but we've seen a little bit of success this year with Dublin, and I think it's going to happen again in 2020. It's just a matter of belief, really, and lads keep buying into Eddie and what the lads are telling us, because they're winners. They're just a winning mentality, and it just runs through them. And it's starting to seep maybe to osmosis or something through them to us. And we've better a little bit of fruit this year. So please God, in 2020 we'll get another few wins.
Yeah, fingers crossed, definitely. So I'll leave you go here and enjoy the day. I presume Leinster Club is fairly high up on your radar this year. Like, I mean, it was the last year you were in it, you drew or beaten after extra time with Kilmacud Crokes, who were a solid team. So, like, I mean, you have a chance of making some sort of a mark on that.
Yeah, we'd be really hopeful. We're really hopeful to win the first game anyway. I don't know what the second game is. We have Offaly at home. There's still Heinz at home in 2 weeks, so look, we're representing Laois now, and to be honest with you, these club winners in hurling have a very poor record. I'd say in the last 10 years, I think maybe 2 teams, you could find out yourself, but I think only 1 or 2 teams have actually won one game in the Leinster County. That's not good enough for a county that are trying to actually achieve and push on and progress. So the way we're looking at it now is we're representing our county and home people, so we really we just want to bring a huge performance and hope. We kind of hope we get a bit of a mutual crowd, I suppose, mutual clubs in to support us on the day. And we'll do our best for our county to win, and look, please God, we'll do it, and we can drive forward, because it's important that our clubs are seen to do well in Leinster as well, because it's just not good enough to kind of see teams winning Laois and going on and losing the first round of Leinster every year. It's just not good enough. Footballers like Port Laois has done very well in the last decade, I suppose. I know you might say slightly under team, but you've always been thereabouts knocking on the door of a Leinster Championship, which is unbelievable. And even as a hurling club down South Laois, we'd be proud to see a Laois footballing club do really well to represent our county in the Leinster. So we're kind of thinking the very same from a hurling perspective. We have to represent the whole county going forward, because that's what it is, really.
Yeah, exactly. Great stuff. Hope you can represent us and go the whole way. And Ross, thanks very much. I won't keep up any more of your time on the day after winning the county final. Thanks a lot for taking the call.
Thanks, Woody. Bring the wallet over, Steve, and now I hear you're a good man to forget it.
All right, so we're replacing Paddy Power performance of the weekend. We're going to give that to David Clifford. We're going to talk about Congress here in part 3. It's usually Paddy Power performance of the weekend, but did you see David Clifford's dummy solo goal the other night?
Yeah, it was class and
tasty. I've done that in training, but I've never done it in a match. It would never come in. I remember doing it in training where you're messing, and
I know.
But he opened up his body and then dummy soloed it back and then stuck it into the bottom corner with his other foot.
Yeah, well, I've often tried to do it. It stuck off the top of my toe, and next thing the defender left me in a heap and gone out with the ball, and you look very silly. But he'd a top performance, and I think once he can finish at 1-6, and you see him, he's just like, he looks like a man among boys at times, especially at that level. Like, he was solo on left, solo on right. You didn't know which side he was going to kick it, and just hour not, and you think we have him here now, and he just kicks it over.
It's too easy when you see how he can influence an All-Ireland final at his age.
Yeah.
Club level's too easy for him, and intercounty
he makes it look too easy.
In 5 years' time, intercounty level will just be too easy for him as well. It will. Like, I mean, when he actually gets experience and proper confidence and
he's going to get, like, he's strong lad as it is, but he's going to naturally get stronger with age as well. You can imagine him in his prime at 26 or 27. It's
scary. If he can stay fit, fingers crossed he can, so we can all enjoy him. Congress. So the big talking points out of Congress, Johnny, are the sin bin was voted through by a landslide, 73.8%. I think a little subtext of that is the number of subs allowed will be reduced from 6 to 5. So that's football will be the same as hurling then. So must have, obviously the black card substitution will be gone, but that's irrelevant. It's just down from 6 to 5. I didn't even know that was going to be decided. But the sin bin voted through. We obviously have the issue with potential time wasting in the 10 minutes. We said last Thursday that could be fixed with a shot clock. So sin bin. Haven't heard too many people giving out about this.
Yeah, well, look, I suppose it's easy to look after the sin bin in Croke Park, All Ireland semi-final, but I suppose we're giving the referee more things to be doing, and that's where it could cause problems. He's trying to keep. John Doyle has gone to the sin bin in the 9th minute. Oh, Jenny, he's now 21. They're roaring at you, and there's so much going on.
He'll start his watch, but I'd say the sideline will be well on top of him if he's gone a second over the 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's more putting more pressure on officials.
It does do that, but what it does do, being down to 14 men is a much bigger deterrent than a man going off and being replaced. For what it's for, and I don't think we see as many black cards as we used to either. I think referees are not giving them out. It's not the same controversy around them.
I don't think so. Yeah, I know. Look, there is merit in it, but it's been tried before. I remember down in Portlaoise, it was at O'Byrne Cup early, where myself and Paul MacDonald ended up in the sin bin for what I'm not sure, but so it was there before. We have tried it. What's going to be different instead of it's one that it's going to take a little bit of time. I don't think it's a massive one. As you say, it's probably more of a deterrent. Maybe if you were saying a couple of minutes to go, pull a lad down. Sure, it doesn't matter. It's the right thing to do. And all of a sudden, then you're down to 40 men. It's probably a bigger deterrent.
Bigger deterrent in the last 10 minutes, which is a big one, because the other one wasn't any deterrent in the last 10 minutes.
You'd actually be telling a lad, why didn't you pull him down?
You'd be doing it. The advance mark then, that got through with 68.9%, a pretty a big win as well. What's your thoughts on this? Because this, whether people want to believe me or not, this is my idea. I was going on about this about 5 years ago on a show I did on Setanta. I like to brag about it, Johnny, that the advance mark is
I'm
actually
sure the
my
check
idea.
is in the post.
I haven't seen anybody come up with it before me. But anyways, my idea of the advance mark was inside the 21. So I was going to add a bit of theatre to it. The long ball, the catch. It was potentially making teams push out on the kicker. It was back when defensive systems were really, really, extreme.
Yes.
And that if an attacker caught it inside the 21 with a good ball, that he couldn't be surrounded and dispossessed, that he'd get a reward for catching it. Inside the 45, I'm not as big a fan of it, and moving it from 5 seconds to take it to 15 seconds, I'm not as big a fan of it.
Yeah.
Now, in the league last year, we saw very little people claiming marks from the 21 out to the 45. So I'm not really sure what to think of it. I would hate for Gaelic football to get to the point where a fella's marking it just inside the 45 and getting a free shot at goals. I would hate that.
Yeah, but that's going to happen, and then is it going to be very stop-starty? That's my worry for it. Yeah, I do get the thing, and I would have said even with the mark as we known it, even though it hasn't made a huge difference in the game, but this thing of,
it did add a bit to last year's league.
Well, it probably did, in fairness. But I suppose you're looking at, to me, one of the best fielders was Dermot Errill, and and we're happy to let him go to the clouds, brilliant catch, come down and just swarm him and take it off him. So, there is merit from that. I just wonder, is it going to be very stop-start? It's going to be time waste, and you get 15 seconds to
yeah, you see, I hate that. I thought the 5 seconds was perfect, because it's not meant to be like a free kick. The last thing I want to do is see people going through a little mini routine before they kick this. That is slowing it down, and that's not what the spirit of it should be.
Yeah.
It should be you get a catch, you're rewarded for the catch by the defender backing off you, and you just tap it over the bar, almost like from play. If you've 5 seconds, it's as good as being from play.
You don't have a routine.
It's just you can't be tackled. You can't be tackled, and that's the reward. A bit like the mark in midfield.
Yeah,
15 seconds. I don't get that.
Yeah, and what it also then like we would have seen it when it was introduced. A lot of teams didn't pay much attention to it because they knew it wasn't going to be in for the championship. Now it's going to change the dimension. You know, are you going to see the big full forward come back into play a lot more? I'm not sure whether it was needed as much now. I think the game has evolved again. There's not as much emphasis on blanket defences. You know, we'd had 2 cracking All-Ireland finals, that albeit, you know, Dublin and Kerry went hammer and tongs at it. I'm not sure it was needed maybe as much as it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, not inside the 45. I'd take it just as that long ball option the odd time in a game. And that, I think there's no harm in bringing that back into the game, because that's definitely gone.
It probably does force it a little bit to and we talked about earlier on, it's just, you know, lumping the ball in there as such. But I'm still not sure about it, whether it's. I just hope it doesn't become very stop-start, and again, you know, 20. You're looking at distance. Like, is it? Again, the referee's got to decide: is that 15 metres? Is it 19 metres? Is it 20? Is it? You know, there's that sort of grey area. And
see,
again,
my initial idea was that if it's kicked outside the 45 and caught inside the 21, then there's no messing.
Yeah.
There's 2 lines on the field to tell you.
Yeah.
Now it's open to, like, the referee having to judge what's 20 or whatever the distance is.
You could kick it from 46 metres to 45 metres across the field, and it's still a mark. You know, even though you're only a metre or to 44 metres as such, if you want to be technical, and it's still a mark. Where, as you say, you 2 definite lines, and it encouraged that long ball into the square, where this could be a half back kicking it just inside the 45, and next thing it's over the bar.
Where everybody loves that. Anyways, there's a new kick out rule, and this went through by 83%. This is from the 20 metre line. This is obviously encouraging more teams to go long. It's tightening up the area for the short one, and it's like it looks to be, and it has to go forward. So really, for me, an eyesore on the game recently has been that almost backwards kick out to a corner back.
Yeah.
Listen, they want to put it out to more contests. I don't see any drama about this one. We'll move on quickly enough. But I don't see anyone giving out about this one.
The only thing it also means is the keeper has to travel that bit further out to kick it out, which gives oppositions time to man up, and it gives them less an opportunity to take that short kick out. You know, it's probably no harm. Yeah,
I don't mind that one. The big controversy obviously is the 2-tier. So this has been passed, you know, and I don't think there's anything wrong with 2 tiers in intercounty. I have a problem with the way this has probably been done. It's a bit of a weird one. It's like it's been pushed through for no real reason. And it's only there's a good chance it'll only ever be done for 1 year, and there'll be something else the following year, because we know that there's a fixture task review, and their proposals will be going to Congress in 2020. So John Horan was talking after this. He says there will be motions in February from the fixture task review, but they won't affect this competition. This competition was adopted will go ahead in 2020, because we were at the 3-year trial. We're in a 3-year trial, so this is just tweaking it, tweaking the 3-year trial. So we know that the Super 8s format was a 3-year trial, and this is the last year of that. Now, this task committee, the Fixers Task Review Committee, has been given a mandate to come up with a new structure for the after that 3 years to going forward. And they have representatives from the CPA, GPA, third levels, the CCCC. All sounds perfect. I just don't understand why they're trying to force this into 1 year when it might not go that well. It's not brilliantly thought out, and it might actually turn good proposals that the fixture task review has spent a year doing, that it might actually tarnish this tier 2 for when they actually do it properly. Do you know what I mean? That's one danger. Another side of it, you could just say, look, it's for a year, it's trying it out, it's not the end of the world, just put it in there. I don't know what I'm
I had a different opinion in that. Like, this thing of for a year, trying it out, this is the biggest competition of the Gaelic football year. It's your All-Ireland series. It's supposed to be. It's championship football. You know, trying out for 1 year doesn't wash with me.
But it changes very little, Johnny. It actually what does this change? It changes so little. Like, all the teams playing the provincials as usual.
Yeah.
The Division 3 and 4 teams generally won't make it in that, right? And then they'll go into the qualifiers. Generally, the Division 3 and 4 counties will be beaten in round 1 or round 2 of the qualifiers. They go out with a whimper and nobody really cares. Now, instead of that, and another thing about the people giving out about media coverage, you see last year Derry played Waterford. I didn't see that on the front page of a bloody paper, and they're in the qualifiers. Or Monaghan went to play Leitrim.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's a tiny little corner. It's on with another 16 or 15 qualifier games. Nobody gives a shit.
No, I agree with that.
Everybody, so now, when they lose in their provincials, instead of going into a low profile qualifier that they'll more than likely get beaten in, and they might win 1 or 2 if they're lucky, now they go into a competition that they could get a run in. Yeah. I don't see the drama about it.
Well, I'm not disagreeing in the 2-tier. I think there's merit in the 2-tier, and if you're really, really honest, there's probably a 3-tier. That part of it doesn't mind, but you're sending. So I'm being sent off as part of this task group to go and spend God knows how many hours meeting different county boards, meeting administrators in different counties, meeting together, getting proposals, interviewing, surveys, and then just throw this into it's the timing of it. You know, if it makes, and you're right, it's not a huge change, so why make it? Leave the group.
Well, John Horan seems to want this as his legacy, that he got this through.
I don't get that either.
Can his legacy not be the fixtures task review who'll bring it in? Absolutely. And everybody will know that, you know?
And like, you hear that a good bit, you know, the Super 8s was Park Duffy's legacy. This, you know, like, a legacy could be, do you know what, I steered the ship through a rocky enough period, or, you know, why do we have to leave a legacy for the sake of leaving a legacy? And maybe that's not his. In fairness to John Horn, we're maybe presuming that this is because it happened, and we presume he's trying to do this. I'm not saying that. I just think, you know what, you're enlisting a group to go away and come back with proposals, and for the sake of why
for a year, yeah.
That's my view.
I saw a funny tweet from Malachi Clark, and he says the GAA president's legacy, his legacy will be that he wanted a legacy. I thought that was an interesting one. But John Horn was talking on this as well, and he says we're going to have to work on it. This is about media coverage, and people are getting obsessed with media coverage as if under the current structure Division 3 and 4 teams get loads of media coverage. They don't. They get zero media coverage. And like, I mean, how do they think that now they go into a competition where they could make an All-Ireland semi-final in Croke Park, and they think that's worse than what they get now, where they just get beaten? I don't get it. It's always whinging about everything. I take your point, and we're all agreement that this just seems to be pushed in for only 1 year. It's silly, but it's feck all difference. And if anything, it has to be a good thing for the weaker counties. Now they're in a competition they can win, instead of going out in a whimper in a qualifier game. Don't get it. But anyways, I just want to finish off on this. So he says, we've been talking to RT in terms of coverage for it. We hope to have semi-finals and finals in Croke Park to give it that profile. That's great. They're in control of semi-finals and finals. They have no business telling RTE what to cover. Like the Joe McDonagh Cup clashes with the Munster final. That's not shown on television. And that's a tier 2. RT will not be showing a tier 2 over a tier 1, and they're in a 5-year contract. They don't have to, and they'd be stupid if they did. This is the thing about it. How on earth is, under the current structure, is a tier 2 supposed to get media coverage? Because the tier 1, there's barely enough room in the calendar for it. Everything's squeezed in. The hurling gets in June and July, is on every weekend with huge games. There is, unless the only way to give a tier 2 media coverage is to restructure the whole year, let the year breathe, and have tier 1 one weekend, tier 2 the other weekend. On that tier 2 weekend, the whole national media have no choice but to go and cover this, because it'll be the only show in town. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But if it's clashing with tier 1 games, it's not getting media coverage. No. But it wouldn't get media coverage now. Like if Waterford are playing Derry in a qualifier and Mayo play Armagh, who's going to get bigger column inches? Yeah, and it's a load of nonsense.
I'm bringing it to Croke Park. I guarantee you we'll be here this time next year saying Derry and Waterford. Why wasn't that in Clones? Close crowd, bigger crowd.
Well, unless it's before the All Ireland, they could play that instead of the minor.
But probably, yeah. So you're not going to increase. And the other side of it is, if you want to have meaningful, you know, talks with whether it's RTE or TG4 or Sky or whoever you want to do it, you got to sit around the table and say, well, we're thinking of changing this here now.
Yeah.
Where do you see this fitting?
But they can't.
But we got told then. I got a text message about that. Like, come on.
I saw that.
That
was weak.
That's very weak.
That was weak.
You
And
know.
RTE would be stupid to show a tier 2 game over a tier 1 game.
Yeah.
They don't have to, and it's a lesser game. And why would they do that? You know, I can see where they're coming from there.
I still, and I'll take your point. It's a 5-year thing. I don't get this 5-year thing.
Oh, well, that was stupid. That was
complete way. Like, you'd say, okay, let's see how this works for a year. We'll tie nobody into anything, and because as the GAA, you're the ones with the marketable product here. And I go to Sky, Sky, you got them games, you know, we felt you could have showed more, and then you want more, we'll negotiate at the end of the year. That's the way I'd be doing it.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, they've done a 5-year deal and they don't know what their championship structure is. It's a mess. There's no forward planning. Yeah. But anyway, Ronan Sweeney, we're talking about him here, Moorfield player, friend of yours. He was saying absolutely dreadful decision. Weaker counties will be completely forgotten about. I don't take that point because they're already forgotten about.
Yeah.
How many Carlow games have you seen recently? How many Waterford games? How many Leitrim games? Where do you see these games? Do people think that these counties are on television all the time now, and now they won't be?
Yeah,
they're not.
They're not there anymore.
To begin with.
Yeah.
Under this, they have a chance of being on television if they make an All-Ireland semi-final. Yeah. So I don't see why this is a bad thing. I think like if they can get to an All-Ireland semi-final or final, they have a much better deal than they already had.
Yeah.
Why would they want to complain about that? Or why are people thinking they're going to be forgotten about when they're already forgotten about? They're an irrelevance to the championship. They go into a qualifier and get beaten.
But that's whether you want to blame media for that. I went to look at League Slip and Monasterevin in the intermediate final a couple of weeks ago. Okay. You know, you could say a big town in League Slip, lesser town in Monasterevin. It's not a huge town, but there's still plenty of people around there. It's a small crowd. You know, good start and move to a bigger crowd. Because people look to see the top games. Yeah. And that's, RTE know that, the GAA know that, and that's reality. So, you know, back to your point being that the weaker teams, if you have a choice to see Dublin and Monaghan or Cara, and I'll throw Kildare in it because people maybe are saying I'm biased, and people want to see the top teams playing week.
And that's the thing. And like, people complain about no one watching the women's game, and that's a lower level again, if we're being honest about it. And like, people won't go to games that aren't quality, and the Division 4 teams are not playing at a hugely high standard. Not as high as Division 1, so the crowds will reflect that, and the national coverage will reflect that, and the column inches will reflect that. That's natural.
Look at the effort. In fairness to the ladies, both the hurling or the camogie, and they're putting massive effort into trying to promote it again, and it is growing, but it's a slowly evolving thing.
Yeah, they need to. I always say they need to grow. They need to improve the game first. You can't just force people to go. Like, I mean, marketing will only get you so far. The game has to be at a very high level skill wise, or people won't want to watch it. And that's the way I look. John Green, Twitter was a no-go zone because I'm sick of GAA people crying and whinging about everything. And the bigger the drama, the better on Twitter, and it's more of an outrage. And what are they doing to our game? And I see all these people tag me in these. But John Green's the editor of the Sunday Independent, and he did a big long thread, and it's like, what is this lad on about? So he says, I go to bed tonight thoroughly disillusioned with the GAA. I hope I'm proved wrong, but I believe the association is on the wrong road, hurtling towards semi-professionalism and an elite structure which flies in the face of its ethos and core values. Clubs will continue to take the lead now from the top. It's okay to exclude. It's okay to differentiate between strong and weak. It's okay to alienate, as long as the strong get stronger. Someone needs to tell John Green that tiered structure works brilliantly at club level. They already separate the weak. They're called Junior B, and they're not let within an ass's roar. They have to get promoted 4 years in a row before they get up near the elite club teams. This tiered elite structure is in club. It works brilliantly. It gives every player in the whole county a chance of winning a county title at their level. People go to junior matches. It means as much to win that junior title because they're used to it. This is just a small change. So now this fella's saying clubs will continue to take their lead now from the top. Clubs have been excluding the weak teams for donkey's years. This is not a big deal. This is a good thing. Tier 2 is a good thing. It's better than hammerings every feckin' year, and the weak teams getting over, and then the odd Fermanagh getting to a quarter final and getting hammered by Dublin, seen as some sort of, great success story, and now Division 3 and 4. That happens every once in a blue moon. The reality is 3 and 4, and I'll put this to you. I would take Laois to be relegated out of Division 2 to go into Division 3 and win a Tier 2 All-Ireland this year rather than stay in Division 2 and get feckin' knocked out by Cork in a qualifier down in Thurles by feckin' 15 points. Any day of the week.
Yeah.
Any day of the week I would. It give Mike Quirk something to build on. The county could have a homecoming. We could have those all-stars that they're talking about. The team will get a holiday. And is that not a better year for Laois, for the supporters and for the players, than to be beaten in Leinster and then get beaten in a qualifier, and it's like a groundhog year? Because the reality is most of those Division 3 and 4 counties are having groundhog feckin' years. It's one after another with the dream of what happened 20 years ago of maybe making a breakthrough, and it doesn't bloody happen. Give me relegation, give me a Tier 2 All-Ireland, and I'll take your hand off.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with you in any form. You look at it. There's tiers in the league, there's tiers in clubs, right the way through underage. It's all tiered football. You know?
Why is there such a drama about this?
I think the drama is the whole workings of it and why we'll throw it in. Sure, could be gone next year. And
and that's a reasoned argument. I understand that.
That's my big problem. Like, I played the vast majority of my career playing in the senior football in Kildare, right? And towards the latter years, just don't get relegated. That was it. The first year, we won't get relegated, and eventually we did get relegated. And you know, you go to intermediate, and as far as we've been there 2 years now, we got to a quarter final. But every year the demeanour changes. That you're looking at the teams, you look at League Slip, Monster in the final. I was coming out thinking, do you know what? If we can get that lad back, we can get that lad back.
Now you can win something.
We can win something. And I got as much satisfaction at winning at that level than I did at senior level, because you were competing. You know, you weren't thinking about, oh well, it's only intermediate. It's the level we're at. And water finds its own level. Yeah. And I'm not disagreeing in any way, but I just think, do you know what, we're very ad hoc in changing things, and leave it for a year. If it's going to take this review committee, let them do their work, come back and see, and then let's negotiate. We're going to keep this for whatever. We're going to give it 3 years to see, to let it bed in and work from there. In that point, now we'll do our negotiations with our media coverage. Now we'll do it, and we'll at least get sort of the best fit. It won't suit everyone, and I do get that, and you'll never get. But don't come back to me and say, "Oh well, I got a text message from RTE saying we might be able to show that." Do you know, like that's just
comical. But they are in the middle of the 5 years, so like, I mean, he's got no say. The only time they'll have say over RTE is when all the negotiations start again, and then they can start maybe dictating to the broadcasters of what they have to do.
But we've had a single tier championship for nearly 40 years now. If we sit it out for another 3 years and we do the whole lot together, I'd
take that as well. Yeah, me too. Right, listen, Johnny, that's all we've time for. Thanks very much for coming in. We'll be back on Thursday as usual. We'll have a look ahead to, I'm sure there's more county finals and provincial club championship matches next weekend. Talk to you then. Good luck.